Good afternoon. Jeff Dawson here. I'm going to share with you a chapter out of a management book that I wrote back in 2001 entitled Do Your Damn Job. In the last few years, I've read several self-help management books, but none of them really addressed the hard issues. They skirted around them, didn't address issues I was looking for, and to me, basically, I was helping the author and the publisher make money. With the exception of Amy Morin's book, 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. Now, this book was spot on. I gave that 5 stars on Goodreads because she gets to the point, she doesn't pull punches, she gets right to the issues at hand that the normal person can relate to in the work environment and improve themselves and possibly help improve their employees. But it still had a gap for me in the construction world, which I've been involved in for over 30 years. We deal with hundreds of thousands and tens of millions of dollars in projects, and you don't have a lot of time to just sit around and debate it and have a meeting to set up another meeting for the following meeting that will conclude the initial meeting that you went to and still don't have a resolution. I sat in a lot of those meetings at times that when it was all said and done, we're going to have another one because what we're there for was never addressed. I was like, what the hell was this all about? And I have 2 of those examples in the chapter meetings in this book. One of the biggest issues I have found, whether it's at work or in personal life, is the petty gossip and bullshit that seems to incorporate a whole lot of people's time and energy. And I felt I have not read a management book that really drills this home. Now, I am old school, and I don't apologize for it. But these are the techniques I have used, whether I was a foreman, a superintendent, a project manager, or the owner of a business. Because my whole goal, no matter what facet or position that I held in a company, was to perform my job to the best of my abilities and be proud of what we had done. So, this chapter is called Church Social. What in the world could this be about? Well, I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. To me, this can be one of the most damaging acts that occur at a company. Some might call it water cooler talk or the smoke break brigade. All of those would be correct, for they all describe the same thing: company bullshit gossip. When I accepted the job in Dallas, I had no idea how big the company was or how many different offices there were. After a few months, I learned we had offices in San Antonio, Houston, Corpus Christi, yeah, this isn't the Rice Krispies deal, Austin, Fort Worth, and of course the new Dallas office, which I ran. For me, that was no big deal. It let me know that the company was diverse and stable. That's a good thing. My superintendent, John, had worked for the company about 10 years ago, so he kind of knew the climate of the company, but didn't dwell on it too much. I would soon get the crash course. It was around 5 months before we could aggressively get the job underway. At first, we would get one crew which consisted of 3 men. Not a big deal to manage. As time progressed, we had 4 to 10 full-time crews at any one time. This is where it started getting interesting as I met all the different foremen and their characteristics. While that in itself can be challenging, it was the garbage they would bring onto the job site that began troubling me. All of them had worked at the different offices and had nothing flattering to say. One foreman in particular complained about all of them. Seriously, he had nothing good to say about any of them, including the Dallas office. What the hell? I haven't done anything to provoke this type of attitude. I let it go on for a few months until enough was enough. The projects were moving along smoothly, and I wasn't about to let them get derailed. All the crews showed up one morning and were preparing to go to work. I overheard them talking about Austin, Houston, etc. This was utter bullshit, and I wasn't hearing it anymore. I pulled all the foremen into my office trailer, packed them in like sardines. I wasted no time and minced no words. Gentlemen, as of today, I don't want to hear one more word about Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Corpus Christi, or Fort Worth. I am sick and tired of hearing about the bitching, whining, and complaining. It stops today. You leave that shit at the gate. Do you understand? Let's say there was some grumblings amongst them. Here's why I don't want to hear that shit anymore. The last thing I want is for the other offices to start gossiping about us. Every time I hear this incessant complaining, it reminds me of a bunch of church social backstabbing bitches. You are accomplishing nothing and pissing me off. When you come through that gate, you're on my time and my schedule. Got it? The only thing I want to hear on the grapevine is that we are doing our job, doing it well, and making money. That's it, nothing else. You're all grown men, now start acting like it. Questions? There were none. Good, get to work. From that point on, the only idle chatter I overheard was job-related and how to tackle problems. That is what I was after, and it worked. I know my words and actions can be a bit harsh at times, so depending on your industry, you might have to soften the words somewhat. Still, if you don't address it, it will only get worse. Instead of completing the tasks at hand, a lot of time is going to be wasted for no good reason because Jimmy or Susie got their feelings hurt because Joe and Jill said Bill didn't think they were capable of doing their jobs, and sooner or later, Bruce would hear about it. If you can follow that logic, then you're one of the problems and need to cease it immediately. And that's the chapter. Now, you tell me if you have been around that, been exposed to it, or even been a part of it. And in the end, what did it accomplish? Not a damn thing. You got people talking, and they're not working. You got people complaining, and they're not working. And if you're a manager and you let this go on and on until it festers and pops, all you're going to have is a mess to clean up. So the message is simple. I knew if these guys were talking about everyone else, and as I stated, then they were talking about Dallas. Dallas was my operation. And the only thing I wanted to hear was, that, as I stated, that we're doing our job and we're making money, and that's it. There's no time for bullshit. There's no time for gossiping. And there's no time for complaining. And yeah, I was pretty solid and gruff with these guys. But I will say this much. The next 4 years, we did approximately, I think, 16 jobs out of the Dallas office. Nobody was talking about our operation in a derogatory manner. The only feedback I heard from foremen and other superintendents was they wanted to work in Dallas, and then from my bosses, we were on schedule and we were making money. And folks, no matter what business you're in, isn't that the goal? You can find all of my books on Amazon. Jeff Dawson, and I hope you'll take a chance to check it out. It's $4.99 for the ebook, and I think it's like $7 for the printed copy, or you can contact me at jdawson41@netzero.net, and I will send you a signed copy. Until then, have a good day.